Hello and welcome to Stinker Madness Moving Not Movies Edition 1 Special, I guess. With me, as sometimes, is Tucker. Hello, Tucker.
Hello, Sam. How's it going?
Spectacularly, or specially? Did I call it a spectacular or I called it a special, which is good, because I don't know if this is going to be spectacular.
It's going to be spectacular.
This week on the program, because we're not doing movies, or are we? We're doing Wheel of Time. Mm-hmm. Now, Tucker, you saw Wheel of Time.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us a little about it.
I mean, I saw it years ago, and I was like, oh, yeah, Wheel of Time. I know that. I'll watch it again. And it's on Tubi right now. So
is it?
Yeah. So I watched it on Tubi. And
most people are probably like, what the hell is he talking about? It just came out and it's on Amazon.
Now, I watched Wheel of Time from 2003, directed by Werner Herzog, about a giant gathering of Buddhists, and the Dalai Lama's in it, and lots of really interesting things. That's Wheel of Time, right?
Yeah. Well, there's also the Wheel of Time that I watched, which is the adaptation of probably the first book of the Robert Jordan series, which is magic stuff.
Oh.
Let me ask you this about Herzog's documentary. Did he become disinterested with Buddhism about a quarter of the way through and just start wandering around with the camera?
I mean, he's wandering around with the camera a lot of the time, but I don't think he's disinterested at all. He seems pretty fascinated. Like he doesn't seem to, as you know, in the best of Herzog documentaries, he doesn't seem to come at it as an expert. He just comes at it as like a curious weirdo.
Did you see the volcano documentary he did?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He became disinterested in volcanoes 15 minutes in, and it wasn't about volcanoes anymore.
That's
It was
true.
like he was just, as it turns out, I am uninterested in volcanoes. And then he just started talking to other people about things that had really nothing to do with volcanoes.
Yeah, that's true.
So he stayed on point on this one, though, and actually...
I mean, it's hard to, because he's in that environment, so I guess it's, hard to focus on anything else when it's this gathering of this many people, and especially when they're doing such strange things sometimes.
What's the strangest thing they did?
Well, there's a couple that come to mind, and I mean, this was just, it's not, I don't know, it's strange. I mean, it's strange, sure. It was a pilgrimage to come to, I think the first gathering was in, the city where Siddhartha came down, and that city. And so some of these Buddhists made the pilgrimage on foot, hundreds of miles. And not only that, but they would take a step. Sometimes I'd see a guy take 2 or 3 steps, kind of cheating. And then he'd prostrate himself. He'd get down on his knees, down on his hands, then extend his hands, being completely out, saying a prayer, get back up, take a few steps. They did this for hundreds of miles. This guy, one guy, I think it took 3 years to get there. So, that's, he just watches these guys do this for a long time, and they're doing it across streams and shit. It's insane. And then there's a pillar in the city that they believe may have healing powers. So they're just all getting in there and rubbing themselves on this pillar and kind of rotating around the pillar. You can get 6 or 7 people on it at one time, but there's always people trying to get in.
So it's like an Eastern maypole?
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting stuff.
So what is it Wheel of Time because of the reincarnation of the Dalai Lama or something like that?
I believe it refers to they're doing this gathering, and they're making this mandala that the Dalai Lama at the end destroys. but they're like doing this intricate work on it with sand and drawing this big, huge, amazing thing. And it's supposed to be like, this event is supposed to be their, I don't know if like everybody gets to do it or whatever, but it's like they're able to like take their first step toward enlightenment. It's kind of like a kickoff of that, I think. So I don't know, but it refers to the Wheel of Time as part of that some way. I don't know. I lost that thread a long time ago because I was like, these guys are doing this for 300 miles or whatever. I was like, this is crazy. I was like, well, they're better people than me. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. What are they doing?
You can't just drive there, I guess. I mean, you could, but then that wouldn't be the whole experience.
Most of them did. There's just some people that decided to go that way. That's how they serve their, I don't know. That's how they achieve enlightenment, I guess.
So how would you rate Wild Blue Yonder? Would you consider that to be a documentary? What would you even call that?
Oh, Wild Blue Yonder.
Piece of work
Is that
that
the one
he
with,
did.
With
All of the found footage from the Antarctic diving, some archival NASA footage, and then there's Brad DeReef just sort of ranting about how aliens suck, because if you watch the special features, Herzog invited him to dinner and then didn't take him to dinner. He drove him out to Barstow, which took like 2 hours. And DeReef's like, well, I went over there hungry because I was expecting dinner. And by the time we get to Barstow, I'm pretty pissed off. And this was Herzog's whole plan.
Yeah.
Was to make him hangry. And he won't leave this, street corner in Barstow until he gets 15 minutes of solid Brad DeReef bitching. And the only thing he has to talk about is aliens. And it's quite a little fun scene, only if you've watched the special features. Because afterwards, when you're like, oh, you put it all together, you're like, it's not bad, Brad DeReef. That's pretty fun now that I know what's happening here.
Right.
Because you have no idea watching the movie.
Yeah, I don't really remember that one. I do remember it, but I don't remember what happens. Or
it's not worth watching, other than that Brad DeReef thing and the interview, which at the end of the interview, he kind of ends it by saying, and that's what it's like being neighbors with Werner Herzog.
Right.
Like, Werner Herzog's one of my best friends, and I don't like him at all.
This is a much more straightforward, just kind of mostly documenting. I mean, he does some of his, Herzogian narration. But overall it's pretty just observational, but it does definitely have his eye, he'll land on some person and just stay there for a second, and it's definitely
until the magic
him.
happens.
Yeah. And I find that it does a lot.
I was going to say where, you bottom end Wild Blue Yonder, top end, if you consider it a documentary, because I don't even know what that thing is.
Right.
But then top end, say Little Dieter Needs to Fly. Where is it versus Little Dieter Needs to Fly?
I mean, I think Little Dieter Needs to Fly is pretty incredible because it's such a harrowing story.
It's traumatic and terrible, but it maintains this light spirit of the person. The person that he's documenting has somehow maintained this positive outlook on life through this whole thing.
Yeah.
And the film has this wonderful magical spirit to it. And you're like, this is a movie about being a POW, and it's just magical and wonderful, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah. I would, I feel like Little Dieter Needs to Fly's in a different, I think that one's up there with his best stuff. This isn't, this is a lesser work, I guess, or not as, it's not as overtly compelling, I would say. Like Little Dieter Needs to Fly feels compelling. You're like, this is amazing. It's got a real, and this is too, but I feel like it's, it's a lot of watching Buddhists do their thing. And if you're not like really into like, oh, this is, if it doesn't get you interested, I could see you just be like, whatever. It's like a National Geographic thing, whatever, just put it on.
Is there like Buddhist groupies that are just there for the after party?
Not that I could. I did notice. I was like, "Are there any ladies around?" Because it seemed like they were all. I guess they were like all monks or whatever. I don't know what their rules are.
And the film doesn't help you decipher that by the end of it.
No, it's more just like it's some weird stuff people are doing. Pretty interesting.
Yeah. Whenever someone tells me that they're really into documentaries, I ask them if they've seen Little Dieter Needs to Fly, to which point they always say no, and I look down my nose at them.
Huh.
So I'm like, oh, you haven't seen the genre's finest offering.
Right.
Well, you aren't really into documentaries, then are you?
Yeah. Get with it.
Oh, did you see Bowling for Columbine once, and now you're into documentaries? Right. Great.
Yeah, exactly.
Now for the Wheel of Time that people probably showed up for. And
I
I'm
don't know
going
what
to...
this is at all.
You've never heard of the book series?
Never heard of it.
Really?
Yeah.
I had only because a roommate was really into it, and he was like beside himself when the author died and had to get finished by somebody else. And I would always confuse it with the one that just had Oprah in it, the Disney movie, A Wrinkle in Time.
Right.
Because I read that when I was in grade school, and somebody was like, Wheel of Time, it's really good. And I'd be like, oh yeah, I read that when I was in grade school. And they're like, what the hell are you talking about? It's like 15 books long. And I was like, oh, we're not talking about the same thing here. Which is good thematically, because we're not talking about the same Wheel of Time. It's got a very unique magic system, and I think that that's what, if you ever read anything about Wheel of Time, one of the first lines is praised for its unique magic system. And it, I think, is pushing a lot of buttons right now on a societal level, because it sort of has a female empowerment to it.
Okay.
I'm ready to get shade thrown at me now by saying that I completely didn't like it at all, and I thought that all of the sort of female empowerment that they were going for, it doesn't work, because I had already mentioned Oprah. Whenever they cast their spells, they look like Oprah giving away a car. You get a car. You get a car. That's what it's one of the weirdest casting stances I've seen. I mean, there's the comic book, like you jump down and you have to like lift your arm up when you hit the ground and bend your knees. And it's the comic book landing pose. That's really stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't care for that, but I can get past it sometimes.
Sure.
I could not get past, and it was only some of the characters were doing these sort of outlandish casting poses, whereas Rosamund Pike's was fairly straightforward. I'm waving my hands at nothing. I'm acting like I'm a wizard, which I think has got to be hard.
Yeah.
Okay, do your wizard stuff. Okay,
right.
I'm casting wizard stuff. It seemed like with Doctor Strange, there was a lot of choreography to the magic casting, which I think helped it out a little bit.
It's not like you can go like, go to a wizard and be like, can I follow you on your rounds tonight? Like, how are you going to research?
Here's an assignment.
Wizard stuff?
An assignment for Werner Herzog is to do a documentary on people who think they're wizards and follow them around, because I think it's out there. I think you could put out a Facebook marketplace or personals or whatever there is now that's not Craigslist and run into some people who think they're wizards.
You're probably right.
Issue 2 I have with Wheel of Time.
Can I ask a couple questions?
Sure, you should ask any questions you want about Wheel of Time, and get ready for the answer. I don't remember. It passed over my eyes and in through one ear and out the other.
Okay. I mean, I think these are general questions just about what it is. So this is a series or a movie?
It's a series, and I believe that the first series is based on one or two of the books.
Okay. Now, is Oprah in this one or just in the one we were talking
No.
about? Okay.
She's in the Disney movie of A Wrinkle in Time,
Right.
which when I saw it, I was halfway through with my daughter who likes it a lot, which I think she's the right age for it.
Sure.
I was a little older when I read it. And I'm watching it going, this is not as good as I remember, but by the end of it, I'm like, no, this is a very accurate portrayal of this book. It's just that, man, if you're over 15, you're not going to like it.
This is this show.
Whereas Wheel of Time is meant more for an adult
Wrinkle
audience,
Time.
or at least teens to young adults, anybody who likes magic, sort of. This is a pre-Harry Potter magic craze.
Has Rosamund Pike in it. Is there anyone else of note in the cast?
Not really.
Not really? Okay. Is there anyone behind the scenes that I would recognize?
Uta Braithwaite.
Who's that?
I don't know.
Who's he? What's it?
Rafe Judkins.
Rafe
wrote
Judkins.
episode 1.
Oh, okay. So no.
Dave Hill, Amanda Schumann, Wayne Yip. Any of these names sound familiar?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah. Lauren Balfe was the composer. That's somebody that you might recognize. Issue 2 would be
that either.
That the idea of Wheel of Time is that women can use the one power. They can channel it to use their magic. They have unique sort of like they're like a laser crystal or something, and the magic comes in them and it comes out in their own unique way. And men cannot.
Okay.
But however, if a man can, then he's going to be the most powerful, not wizard, whatever they're called. So it's a little Dune-ish in that respect with some, Quetzalcoatl business. But I also find that counterproductive in the whole, like, the women are so powerful in this, but they're afraid of some man getting the magic because he'll be more powerful. I don't like that. Especially with magic in general. It's like, what does your genitalia have to do with any of this? It's fucking magic. You get good at wizarding, right? How long have you been wizarding?
It sounds to me
15 years. Well,
from your description is that what they're saying is like we have extra abilities that make us better, but if you put us on the same baseline with a man, then we'll be left in the dust. That's what it sounds like from your description.
That's how the series play. Again, I haven't read the book, but that's how it played in front of me. And I was like, nope, I don't like that. It's magic. Whoever's good at magic is good at magic, regardless of their genitalia.
Yeah.
Or identity. Like if they have got, like, if they want to be a pretty lady and they've got balls, whatever, right?
Right.
How much magic did you study? 15 years? You should be pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it just
Regardless
seems
of,
wrong-headed, though. You know? It seems like I get trying to, be empowering, but you remember that digital animated movie from a few years, Zootopia? You remember that?
Yes.
I felt like that was like my kids really liked it. And I was always like, well, I think its heart's in the right place, but I think it's really racist. Like
I think it was trying to be counter-racist, and
it was trying to be. That's what I was like.
But it didn't play right.
No, because it was like it was as if whatever this oppressed race was the wild animals, and it was like, well, they go back to their feral state, and like they go native, or whatever it was, and they become vicious, and it was like only that they were suppressing that in them was what allowed them to exist in society. And I was like, this is pretty fucking weird. It's a weird thing to say about anyone, even in a metaphorical way. Like, what are you trying to get at here? I was like, I don't think you're getting at what you're getting at.
There was also a lot of this. They have a bond, so they get like the lady sorceresses or whatever they're called, like Aes Sedai, I think, or something like that. They're the magic users, and they get like a swordsman but their bond is greater than love, and so they're always like screwing, I guess.
Is it the invisible
So-
swordsman?
No, he got shot, if you recall correctly.
Oh, yeah. That's sad.
Great, Dusty. You shot the invisible swordsman.
That's a movie.
Yeah. And so that's kind of happening. So there's a little bit of a symbiotic relationship happening there. I don't know that there's anything counterproductive with the sexual politics in that respect. But it almost plays wrong as well.
Yeah.
And then if they lose their magic, they lose the bond, and again, for being praised for its unique magic system, I was having a hard time making heads or tails of how it worked, other than the fact that it was gender-based.
Yeah.
Or not really gender-based, but, genitalia-based.
Right. Strictly biological part based.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the real main characters aren't really Rosamund Pike. She's helping this group of post-teens.
Okay.
Who are just the whiniest bunch of turds that you don't... It's not that you don't care about them. You want evil wizard man to come and fucking kill them. Because they're so whiny and stupid.
Oh, man.
They're like the kids in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You're like, cut them in half already. I fucking hate these people.
Oh, man. Yeah. I get it.
I think this is item 4, maybe, that I really didn't like. It's over 8 hours long, and I feel like there's probably 3 hours of good content in there.
All right.
So to boil something, and I don't know how many of the books they used, because who knows, right? If there's 15, you figure they're not really trying to shoot this thing to 15 seasons. That would be crazy. Maybe they are. I don't know.
Right.
But it seems like you could be able to get 8 hours out of the book. Like, I don't know if they did something wrong or if the book's that dry, but like the wandering around in Fellowship of the Ring is like twice as exciting. And you don't want to punch the main characters in the face.
Oh, that always helps. I didn't want to punch
Where
the
you at
main
on-
characters in my Wheel of Time in the face either. I mean, so
they're
that makes it
pacifists.
better. I think mine's better.
So far, it sounds like yours is better.
Also, mine's like maybe 90 minutes. Might be a little shorter. I'm not sure.
The old Werner 86.
Something like that. It might be.
I got close enough, I think.
Yeah, I think I win Wheel of Time.
So far. By the end of it, you find out one of the whiny people is going to be the Dragon Reborn, because I guess they're a dragon man,
Huh, I hate
or
that.
a man dragon, or a man that has the powers of a dragon. But then there's like a evil one too, who's like, I'm going to give you the powers of the dragon, or wait, I have them, or I'm going to take them from you. All very blurry by the end of it.
Ugh.
And Tyler couldn't be on the show today, and he watched it as well. But I tossed shade via text message to him on it, and he was like, I liked it better than Witcher Season 2. So now I have to watch Witcher Season 2 to see how that stacks up. Because I liked Witcher Season 1. And I can't imagine this being better than Witcher Season 2. So Witcher Season 2 either stinks, or he's under the spell of this Wheel of Time business, because I'm not.
Ugh. Not cast its spell on you.
Through the one power channeled through the lady business.
Its powers have no sway. They hold no sway over Sam.
It wouldn't even put me to sleep. That was the other thing. It was like early on, Sandra was uninterested entirely. And I was like, well, This will be something that at least puts me to sleep that she doesn't care about, that I can watch while I'm having bouts of insomnia. And I'll tell you what, Apocalypse Now is one of the finest movies ever made, supposedly. That shit puts me to sleep inside of 10 minutes. I can never get past the underwear karate practice that Martin Sheen does.
Uh-huh.
Just like, whoop, right to sleep.
That's like warm milk to you.
Yeah, I guess so. I never put together that Bottle Rocket was making fun of that.
I like to think that if you were
James Caan doing the same thing.
If you were endlessly wealthy, that you would have like employed Martin Sheen to do karate in his underwear in your bedroom to put you to sleep at night.
Yeah.
He's just on staff. He
has to work to act like he's
has to work 19 hours.
Clapper.
19 hours a night or 19 minutes a night to like that live version of The Doors, The End. And that gets you to sleep. It's the only way I can go to sleep. You don't know the pressures of being wealthy enough to afford that.
Elon Musk might be doing that right now.
Yeah, might be.
Or just paying someone who's a Martin. Do you think that there's Martin Sheen impersonators out there?
Probably.
Other than Emilio Estevez.
Right.
And Joe Estevez.
Yeah. Definitely. Any Estevez is doing it. Probably. There's probably a guy that looks a lot like Martin Sheen, and he's like, I'm going to do this at parties, and make a little money.
What would you charge if you were a Martin Sheen impersonator? What's your gig rate? What is your gig rate?
I guess it
to
depends
pretend to be Martin Sheen.
On the market you live in, what the event is. You could do corporate things, make a few grand a night probab't
We've got a Martin Sheen impersonator.
He's gonna
do over here that looks kind of like Brian Cox. We've got a Ronnie Cox impersonator too. Actually, no, that's just Ronnie Cox.
You just memorize one West Wing speech, and you give that, and then you shake hands and take pictures. But the West Wing speech, will really get people.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Did you watch that show?
Back a long time ago, yeah.
I didn't watch it ever. I watched the Newsroom show that the guy did afterwards, and I thought Newsroom was one of the best shows I've ever fucking seen.
Yeah,
but admittedly, I grew up. My mom worked for newspapers, so I can't trust my own judgment on any program, television series, movie that involves newspapers or news channels, because it just sort of like hard-hitting journalism really gets my blood flowing.
Yeah, I like those too.
And real-life journalism has not got my blood flowing in a while.
I mean, it gets it flowing sometimes. Like, fuck,
Headline writing? That's all they're doing these days.
Yeah. It's awful.
Have you seen any series recently that you would like to talk about on these episodes dedicated to series more than movies?
The only... wait. Okay. Yeah. Here's the series I've been watching. So I mostly watch movies if I'm watching anything by myself. And then I watch mostly TV with my wife. And we end up watching just stupid reality shows mostly.
Oh.
But we'll find one and just latch on to it. And so most recently we got into this we've taken to the sea, Sam. We've been doing the Below Deck series. We kind of just happened into it, it would be on and we'd be like, let's check in with these weirdos. And we watch Below Deck, which is follows the crew of a motor, a charter yacht, like a super yacht, a mega yacht, and these assholes will charter it, but you're with the crew who's like, you know, the service crew and the deck crew for the whole season. So they, you know, have all these horrible guests, but they're just working. And anyway, we got super into it, and we started like referring to places in the house as like, hey, let's go out to the wheelhouse. That's where we, you know, go hang out in the garage because the kids have taken over the house. See you in the wheelhouse, or, you know, the kitchen's now the galley. It's just taken over our lives.
Yeah.
And we started,
And it's made by
with Below Deck Mediterranean, did every season. And then we did the 2 seasons of Below Deck Sailing Yacht. And then we finally gave in and went for regular Below Deck, and we've finished that now. And now there's a current season of Below Deck Sailing Yacht. But it's like once a week. I'm like, how am I supposed to get to know these people?
So now you're like having Below Deck withdrawals.
Yeah, we don't know what to watch again.
These Bravo series are like heroin.
I know. They're crazy.
It's like I pulled it up here and I was like, ooh, Bravo, this must be crap.
But I watched Love is Blind season 2 on Netflix. Because, you know, everybody's
how is that
crazy
how
that
do you
is.
how do you make it through that?
I don't know. It's kind of hard, but I am fascinated by awful people. So sometimes it's, you know, just curious. I'm just like, oh, it's all part of the American freak show, you know? But I did watch I watched season 2 of The Righteous Gemstones, and I really like that on HBO, which is, stars Danny McBride and John Goodman and, you know, that one guy from, he's the younger guy. I can't remember his name for some reason. And the sister, oh my God, and Walton Goggins is on it. It's another David Gordon Green, Jody Hill, Danny McBride series.
Okay.
But they're like a televangelist family. But it's really funny, and I had a good time with that. But hey, I have a hard time watching series lately, but that one I got right into. I guess because they were like half hour mostly.
Well, I think that your yachting show is just the Below Deck thing is more of a surprise and more to make fun of, because that's just is like the captain on the show.
Yeah, the captain's on the show, and
is there like do you have a favorite captain?
We kind of like are partial to Captain Sandy, and we found out that people don't like Captain Sandy, like online people apparently. But we're like, well, she's like our forever captain. We started with her in the Mediterranean. I mean, we didn't start with her. There was a Captain Mark before that who recently died, but she took over like in the 2nd season or whatever. And so we were like, we like Captain Sandy, and we didn't want to go to the Below Deck OG because Captain Lee, we did not get a good impression of him, and we were like, I don't know if we want to work for this guy, you know? And so, but then we finally did, and he's hilarious because he says things like when he's mad at someone and he walks through and someone was like, hey, can I get you a sandwich? And he goes, no, I'm going to eat someone's ass for dinner. He says stuff like that all the time. And then I think he found out that people made like a meme out of him saying that, probably, I'm assuming. And I think he caught on to that, but he probably didn't understand it still. He just thought, oh, I have a catchphrase, because then he said it again like the next season. And I'm like, well, now he's playing up to the camera, but I don't think he's in on the joke. But yeah, it's a great show, everybody. I highly recommend all the BDs. There's a new Below Deck Australia starting this month too, so that'll give us 2 boats to be on simultaneously.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah, thanks, Bravo. Keep them coming.
Keep them coming.
Keeping this marriage afloat.
Well, I think...
Oh, that's the other thing, is we were watching so many boating shows that it was like we like, okay, Henry was down here and I was like, you're 10 years old and you haven't seen Jaws, and it's you need to see. And he was like, because I think we just built it up too much. He's like, I think
Sure.
I don't think I'm old enough. And I was like, oh, shut up. Come watch Jaws. And so we put it on and we're immediately like, oh, look at all these boats. I'm like, oh, yeah. And we're like talking about boats. And then like suddenly we're suddenly found ourselves watching Titanic. We're like, hey, boats. It was like everywhere we looked. You couldn't escape it. We even watched a different reality show. They went on a yacht.
So you're just like watching Jaws, just admiring the boats while your child is paralyzed in fear over a giant shark.
What's really funny is I was like, I always thought the orca was so cool, but I never realized what a tiny piece of shit it is for some reason. It's like after all my sailing yacht days, now I've got higher standards.
You're no Captain Sandy, Quint.
That's right. Don't you know anything, Quint? Teamwork makes the dream work. Bullshit like that. Come on.
Bullshit, yeah. I was trying to push Jurassic Park, but she finally watched it. 9 wasn't too early for Jurassic Park, apparently. I still haven't tried to make her watch Jaws. That's not going to happen yet.
Yeah, I think my kids watched Jurassic Park before at some point. But I can't get them to watch anything. They're just not
Jurassic
interested
Park
in my movies.
is just scary enough, but not too scary for a grade schooler.
Yeah. It's perfect.
I don't know that it should be PG, but I guess it's PG. It pushes all the PG buttons.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Kids need to
The movie that
toughen
we
up
watched
a
for
little
the
bit.
movie we watched for the podcast, Lifeguard with Sam Elliott last week.
Uh-huh.
That was rated PG, and there's a giant set of tits right in there.
It's the 70s PG, it sounds like.
Yep.
I mean, there were even
70s
80s PGs that pushed the boundaries. You know? Like it seemed like there was a set of rules that we had figured out as young people going to the movies, like PG, well, they say fuck once. They may be able to get away with fuck twice if it's right together.
Uh-huh.
Like Adventures in Babysitting or something. But then there was like, remember Whitewater Summer?
I don't think I've seen that.
I feel like that got a PG and they say fucking that. And there's like, I saw that movie and I was stoked to see that movie because I lived in a tiny town and it came to our theater. Our theater got like Dirty Dancing like a month after it was out on video. Like that's how long it took to get anything. And we got Whitewater Summer on opening fucking day.
Yeah.
Super exciting.
When did E.T. come out? 1981?
82, I think.
82? I didn't get to see it until 84. That's when it came to our theater.
Wow. Man.
And it scared the living shit out of me.
Yeah, I remember being real scared.
I don't like E.T. to this day. I get in a bad mood when I see E.T. I'm like, oh, fuck you, you little turd. I did not. I still hate it.
Now we're getting
But
into
Sharky's
it.
Machine, I'm fine with for whatever reason. I think I was 2 years older when I saw Sharky's Machine. I was 6.
Sharky's Machine. That makes me think of Jaws, which makes me think of boats. Now,
Boats.
that's what I think of when I think of Jaws now. Oh, that's that boat movie.
You just go on Facebook Marketplace now and just look at boats.
Just looking at boats. And just judging them.
Don't do it. It would be depressing.
That was the thing. It's like, we don't want to
market.
do it. We would never. We are not doers. We would never want to actually do it. But we'll sit here and we'll critique the shit out of the whole thing and be like, oh, this guy doesn't know how to pull the anchor. Like, come on. You call that 2 shackles? Let's go. I don't know.
So you don't think that subconsciously it's ingrained in you that like the right price on a cruise is going to happen and then you're just going to, you know.
See, that's the thing. Cruise ships have no appeal.
Okay.
Zero appeal. The only way I would do it in real life is if it was a mega yacht, private charter situation.
Yacht? Okay.
Yeah. Talking below deck again. There's my wife. Just talking about below deck.
Last boat in front. We'll cut this off soon, but I did see, speaking of boats, that the new Caribbean giant boat is bigger than an aircraft carrier.
Oh my God. See, that's
awful.
Why? To me. I would never, That seems horrifying.
They said that the boat has 6 neighborhoods.
Ugh.
Are you kidding me?
It gives me like panic attacks thinking about it.
The Titanic is like an escape vessel for this boat.
Yeah. Yeah.
What could go wrong?
Oh my God. What a horrifying thing to get on.
Okay,
I don't think I
so
could take any cruise, much less something that big.
it seems like a recipe for disaster because it's like an all-you-can-drink bar and an all-you-can-eat buffet and seasickness.
Yeah. Yay. And I'm trapped with all these people.
Yeah, and
So many
10,000 people.
Oh my God.
Actually, I think that it's like when you count the crew and everybody else, this boat has like 15,000 people on it or something.
Oh my God.
That's just the worst idea ever.
That's the worst thing I've ever heard. I've heard of horrible things too, by the way.
Yeah, I could be wrong on that figure, so be right. Talking Stinker Madness on the You're Wrong Idiot Facebook and Twitter. In summation to this moving non-movies special, you're going to give a do to Wheel of Time, the documentary by Werner Herzog. I'm giving a don't, and I hope that people throw shade at me, because I know this is beloved, but I want someone to be like, defend this adequately, like why anybody should watch this. It's got 82% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I can't see how. It is the most boring, and I can't make heads or tails of it. And there's whiny people constantly that I can't like, let alone get behind.
Right.
So yeah, again, Talk at Stinker Madness, find us on Facebook and Twitter. Throw shade at me for hating this. I'm fine with that, because I'd really like some adequate reasons why it's good, because I'm looking at these numbers and everybody says it's good and I think it's crap. So I'm giving a don't to Wheel of Time. But where are we going to be at on Below Deck? Can you say to the average person that you met on the street, you should check out Below Deck? Would you do that?
To the average person I would meet on the street? No, they're not. They're not yacht types. I don't know that they're quite cut out for this. It's a pretty select thing, you know. You're either a yacht person or you're not, you know. Some of us find the term yachty derogatory. This is things we're learning. Some people find
Is
that
it yacht
derogatory.
or not?
Yacht or not?
Yeah.
That's another thing. We got to learn to tie more knots.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to learn
The midshipman's knot. I have no idea what it is.
And I got to learn like how fast a knot is.
It's roughly a mile per hour.
There's a lot of knots.
Yeah.
Got to be careful.
I think it starts to break around 25. They start to get a little bit different, but it's about the same as a mile per hour.
All right. All right. Well, now I know that. I'm just that much more qualified.
Well, I think you would have known that from watching all these goddamn boat shows.
They are not educational. It's mostly terrible people treating people terribly, and then the terrible people get off the boat, and the maybe a little less terrible people that work on the boat go out and drink and then have sex with each other and get all tangled and twisted up together. And then someone says something horrible about someone else. It's got a whole lot of fun stuff going on. And all at sea.
So the guy that died, the boat captain that died.
Yeah.
Did he die at sea?
I don't know. I don't think so.
They don't say?
I don't remember. He quit I think he only did the first season of Below Deck Mediterranean, and then and that was many years ago, and then he died just recently.
Oh,
And I think he was sick or something. He had cancer or something like
That's
that. I don't know exactly.
too bad. I was hoping he was in Davy Jones's locker.
No. I was hoping he
For
went
his
down
sake,
with that
anyway.
some city that he was floating on the sea.
Yeah. How do you drive a fucking city?
I don't know. You don't, apparently. You just crash it.
Yeah.
Just set it out there until it stops on something. We're approaching the thing that's going to stop us. Everyone run to the back of the city.
How long do you think it takes to stop? One, it probably can't go that fast. It's got to be like 25, 15 tops.
Knots.
And then it still takes like a mile and a half to stop it if it's only going 10.
Knot and a half. See? I know boats. It's fucking cool. So no, I don't, but also I wouldn't recommend anything to someone walking down the street.
Okay.
If someone was like, hey, what's a TV show I should watch? I'd be like, get away from me and run, probably.
Yeah. The news. Don't touch me. Maybe not the news, depending on what channel you like.
Right.
Okay. A better example. Okay. Your cousin, a group, like take your average your cousins out and tell me if you'd recommend this boat show.
Again, not a good example with me. I don't know my cousins.
Who would you tell
well.
to watch this program? How about that?
I would be like, hey, have you been like, do you watch Real Housewives of New York? But that's the only one. And at the end of it, sometimes Below Deck would come on or something, like a rerun, and you'd watch like 2 minutes of it. And then you'd see that it was on every now and then, and you'd turn it on and watch like 5 minutes of it, and then be like, okay, that's what's going on with them. And you turn it off and you go, and this went on for like 3 months or so, and you're thinking, hey, maybe I should watch a full episode of Below Deck. If you're that person, I would say absolutely watch Below Deck on my recommendation.
If you've already tried to watch Below Deck several times,
if you've just casually,
it might be for you.
You've casually watched a few minutes here and there and been like, okay, and moved on. Not because you disliked it. You kept coming back, by the way. You kept coming back for some reason. And you kind of thought, this is stupid. I'll never watch this. But then eventually you're like, maybe we should start at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And but if you're not that person, I'd say, give it a shot. And if it looks like something you may get into after like 5 or 6 hours, because right up front, you're going to be like, what is this stupid fucking shit? But if you give it 5 or 6 hours, if it's something you think you can give 5 or 6 hours to, you're going to be out at sea for like, I don't know, 20 seasons or something. You got like a bunch.
Oh my God.
If you do all the different iterations of the show, there's a lot of seasons. So it can keep you going, especially like if there's another, if we have to stay home for another year at some point, you could do a lot worse. Get yourselves, order some captain's hats and some pipes and, make a thing out of it.
Get some Christopher Cross records.
I was just like the other day, I was like, I'm going to make a Below Deck playlist. Boat songs.
You should make a Below Deck playlist.
I'm going to
We'll share that at some point.
All right. I'm going to do it.
Okay.
So I recommend
All right.
it.
Well, that's our episode this week. Next week, we'll try to figure out a show that we both watched, or the next time we're on.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Justin will come back from moving sooner rather than later. Not that I don't like you here. It's a little different without the movie. It's a little different without the movie.
I watched a movie.
However, this boat thing is intriguing. What is it streaming on?
It's streaming on Peacock, which I
Okay,
think is where
I'm
all
gonna-
the Bravo stuff is. It may be on other things too. I'm not sure. But that's where we
let's
watched
test
it.
We'll see. I'm going to give the boat thing a chance with Sandra and see what she thinks. I'm going to watch it solely based upon her reactions and whether she wants to watch it. And see how engaging Below Deck really is. Mm-hmm. All right.
We'll see.
As I said, that's our show. For Tucker, I'm Sam, and this has been Stinker Madness Moving Not Movies.